I'm financial coach Sparkle, but you might know me as musical artist Karma Soleil, and welcome to Financially Sparkling, where I teach you to fire in your finances and to sparkle in your life. So, get your notebooks and let's get into today's topic. Today's topic is about buying bonds for passive income. It's a little detailed and in depth, so I'm going to explain this as best as possible. I do have my notes with me so that I'm giving you the current facts and figures of the federal bonds, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. Because there are a variety of bonds to choose from, so many in fact, that it can be hard to decide which bond is right for you and your financial freedom needs. So let's talk about the pros and cons of federal bonds. Now, U.S. Treasury bonds are not often the common favorite, but they still yield savings and are a very safe, low-risk investment. The only way you'll lose money is if the U.S. government vanishes or goes bankrupt. Let's knock on wood, shall we? So there are two types of federal bonds, EE series and I series bonds. Now let's talk about the EE series bonds. The EE series bonds are bought at a low price and then they mature to a higher price. For example, let's say you purchase a $100 EE bond. You will pay $50 now, and in 20 years, it will be a value of $100 or more. Now the government is guaranteeing that the value will be double of what you paid in 20 years. It's a guarantee from the government. Series EE bonds have a fixed interest rate that will not change for 20 years. So the current interest rate right now is 2.7% in 2024. So if you buy a bond in this year, you will be getting the interest rate at 2.7%. Now, it may change or stay the same until maturity at 30 years. So between year 20 and 30, it may stay the same or change. It depends. Now let's talk about I-series bonds. These bonds are purchased at the same price as the face value. For example, you buy an I-series bond at $100, you are paying $100. That's your face value. And then you make more money on top of that as it matures. Now, once it matures with interest after 30 years, you will have more than $100 and the exact amount will vary. Why? Because one of the main differences between the I-series bonds and the EE series bonds is the interest rate. With the I-series bonds, you have a higher and fixed interest rate for 6 months. Now currently the interest rate is 4.28% for the I-series bonds, and after 6 months it will change. The interest rate changes every 6 months. This is why the amount that you'll have when the bond matures will vary. However, same with the EE bonds, the government will guarantee that the interest will never go below zero. So you're always going to be making money on something. So with both bonds, you can cash your bonds after 12 months. However, you will pay a penalty if you cash your bond before 5 years. So you will lose the last 3 months of interest if you cash your bonds before a 5-year mark. Now, if you want to cash your bonds after 5 years, there's no penalty whatsoever. You get to take the interest. It's your cash. It's your fund. Just make sure you pay your federal taxes. Now let's talk about the pros and the cons of these two federal bonds. Now, pros. It's a safe option to save money without thinking about it. If you have some money that you want to start saving and you don't want the temptation of easy access like a high-yield savings account will give you, this is a good choice. They are also tax-free if you decide to use it towards your first bachelor's degree for your education. So parents, you can start buying some bonds right now. Once little Johnny or little Susie turns 18 and ready for college, they can use that to pay for their college education. So here are the cons of federal bonds, just something to think about. You do receive a penalty if you cash in your bond before the 5-year mark, and you must keep them for a minimum of 12 months, 1 year. You must pay federal taxes on the interest rates that you've earned. State taxes are exempt. So the interest rates are very low, but they never change for 20 years. If you buy a fixed rate EE bond, interest rates can range between 0.1% to about 10%. So it is important to buy EE series bond when it's at a high interest rate. Or you can buy a variable bond like the I series bonds that changes its interest rate over the course of time. It's your choice. Each have their purpose. I've had both, and I'm currently enjoying the I series bonds. I just enjoy that I can earn a little extra cash when the interest rate fluctuates, and no matter what, I'm still earning money. You can find more detailed information about bonds and securities from the U.S. Treasury Direct website. So that's it for today. You can find this information on my blog. The link is in the description below. Everything is free except my time. I do one-on-one consultations at a very low cost. If you need some help with your personal finances, you can always book a session with me through Fiverr. So see you next time and keep sparkling.